Hey guys, welcome back. Steve here with 6-Star Automotive. Today we're going to talk about the fifth fluid in our series. Before we get started, please like, subscribe, and follow me as we talk about power steering fluid. So power steering fluid actually has a pretty interesting history. It was actually released in the early 1950s by Chrysler. They called it Hydroglide. The technology actually originated from airplanes in World War II. We used to use automatic transmission fluid in power steering systems until the 1960s when fluids started becoming standardized. This allowed vehicles to be much more reliable. As power steering systems became standard, fluid formulations were improved with anti-wear, anti-foaming, and anti-corrosion additives to match the demands of a wide range of vehicle designs and climates. Conventional power steering fluid is a petroleum-based mineral oil, just like what's used in a lot of other oils. Synthetic power steering fluids are actually a polyalpha olefin base, offer a better molecular proportionality, and because of that, they can actually offer better performance. One of the reasons we don't use transmission fluid in power steering systems anymore is because the ATF is not designed for the type of shear forces that are present in a power steering system. Power steering fluid also has a different blend of additives that is specifically designed for the higher pressures and lower temperatures. The anti-foaming agents in power steering fluid are tailored for the lower temperatures and unique flow characteristics, which helps maintain smooth operation with low noise. Power steering systems, unlike transmission systems, actually operate between 5 and 1200 psi normally. They can actually go up to as high as 1500 psi under high stress situations. The fluid is designed to take this kind of stress without breaking down prematurely. If the anti-foaming agents start to break down in power steering fluid, you can actually get kind of a jerky steering wheel feel that's caused by the air in the fluid not being able to produce any pressure, which in turn can't produce any assist, so you get that lack of assist as the bubbles go through the system. Just like engine oil and all your other petroleum-based fluids, power steering fluid has to be able to operate at very low temperatures up to very high temperatures. So keeping that fluid replaced often will keep those additives working like they should and keep your system operating as well as it can for all types of conditions. So other than the things that we've talked about so far, what are the reasons that you should do maintenance on your power steering system? First reason is to avoid component damage. Over time, metal particles can build up from wear inside of the pump. Particles from rubber hoses breaking down can build up, and they can actually fill the screen that's in the reservoir and can clog it. This can cause a loss of flow and cavitation. We'll get to that in just a second. The second reason is to maintain lubrication and smooth steering. As the fluid breaks down over time, it loses its viscosity and lubrication properties. This could cause friction and heat to build up in the system, which could lead to noises and abnormal steering feel. Cavitation. This one's actually fascinating. You should do some homework on cavitation. So the way it works is that restrictions in a system can actually cause the pressure in a fluid to drop so low that it reaches its boiling point. The bubbles created by the low pressure cavitation will collapse on themselves and create a shock wave that can actually damage metal. The fourth thing is preventing seal and hose damage. Just like in your engine, there's conditioners in the fluid that will protect the rubber hoses and rubber seals in the system from getting hard over time. Fifth thing is oxidation and breakdown. As the fluid is exposed to the heat and pressure of normal operation, it will actually begin to oxidize and degrade. The oxidation will then cause it to become acidic, and it will start to wear away at important components like your steering gear and your pump. So this isn't really a whole lot different than any of the other fluids we've been talking about so far. Really, the biggest thing to take away is that the best way to keep things from breaking is to keep these fluids replaced. So what about electronic power steering? So cars from the mid-2000s on have started to use what's called electronic power steering, and instead of using a pump with high pressure, they actually use electric motors to do the assist. This is actually pretty cool because there's a lot less maintenance involved in these type of systems. They are, however, considerably more expensive if components fail. One of the reasons that electronic power steering has become so prevalent is for autonomous vehicles. Even if you don't have a fully autonomous vehicle, if you have lane keep assist or if you have the automatic parking features that you can have, that's really made possible by the electronic power steering system. One interesting thing to note is that conventional hydraulic power steering systems can actually give you a more connected feel than the electronic power steering systems. They can feel detached or artificial, which some people don't like. So a lot of sports cars and performance cars will still have either a conventional power steering system or they'll actually use a hybrid of the two. You can actually look it up. They make electronic power steering fluid. So let's take a second and go over the components in your power steering system. So as you're going to see here, we got the steering wheel, the steering shaft, a U-joint, and then we go down here to the steering gear assembly, also called a rack and pinion. So you have the rack and then the pinion gear that goes here. you'll have the power steering pump and then the reservoir. The reservoir is going to feed the pump's going to pressurize that fluid, and then that's what's going to allow the valve inside of here to use that pressure to create assist while you turn the steering wheel. As you can see, the rack allows you to turn the wheel side to side by pushing on the knuckle that's connected to the wheel. Like I talked about before, you can actually get a jerky steering wheel if you have air in the power steering system. So as you can see right here, we're going to remove that old fluid that you can see with the particles in it and then replace it with that clean fluid. That could give you better handling and then help the power steering pump from failing. So I really hope you guys are getting a lot from these videos. They're real fun to make, and I hope you come by to see us soon. So thanks for being with me today, guys. That's everything I've got for power steering fluid. Not a very complicated one, just very important if you don't want to replace your pump or your steering gear assembly. I hope you guys get a lot from these videos. Again, please like and subscribe. Tell all your friends about us and come on by to experience the 6-star difference for yourself. Can I do it while looking at the camera? Probably not. If you'd like to experience a 6-star difference, how's about some of them apples?